Hey, welcome back. We've decided to do another episode of this award-winning, critically acclaimed, loved by all podcast Engage on all fronts. My name is Logan Sama. I am the chair of today's triangular table between my two compatriots. Morgan, more prime. What's going on?
Hey man, good to be back for another episode.
And Laurence, who was with me recently in his home territory of Manchester, and that's going to be the focal point of this companion episode to our latest vlog, of course, as I made my competitive return to Warhammer tournaments at the UKTC in Manchester for the Manchester GT 280-something entrants. And guess what, Laurence? Much to your chagrin, I managed to finish with a winning record. That's right. I went 3-2.
I honestly thought it was going to be like 0-2 and you'd be asked to leave.
No, I'm
get out.
I'm truly a savant at Warhammer 40,000.
An idiot savant,
Absolutely, yeah. 100%.
How does that place you on rankings? Where were you on the day?
I can find out on Best Coast Pairings. Let's have a look. Can literally pull it up now.
Slight intermission, and then let's slap it on the screen.
I
also have an achievement, a competitive achievement recently. I played Laser Quest for a gym person's leaving do, and I came first by 500 points.
God damn.
That is a killer in disguise right there. Just don't give me no laser weapons, man. I'm coming for you guys.
Was it that? I thought you were going to say it was
now
the
this
Warhammer
is online.
one.
No, I need to do that one. There was like 3 or 4 kids in the match though, so I will say that I was literally shooting them 90% of the time, and they didn't notice. War is war.
Just hit them with the butt stock and just
war.
like take them out.
if it's here or it's in
No
the
prisoners.
far future, Dark Millennium, it's war is war.
I've got some good news, guys. So total players 339. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I finished
334th.
147th. There I am. Look, that's me.
You're bang
Amazing.
average.
Meow, 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 meow.
Not the air horn.
Excellent
He's the
stuff.
winner the whole day.
I had a winning record. But yeah, I haven't been to a tournament in all of 10th edition yet, so I barely knew the rules. And Laurence was very kind enough to join me for the first day and experience my incompetence firsthand.
You guys did a great job. The video looks amazing, so definitely if you check it out, right?
That's because Laurence is really good at what he does. We are all collectively quite good at all the other things that we do outside of this podcast, which obviously you might be forgiven for not realising based on this podcast. But yeah, Laurence knows how to work a camera. Pretty impressive.
He really does.
Just about.
Bravo,
You just turn it to auto, right? Auto and press the big red button.
So, Logan, do you want to take us through what are we discussing this episode?
So, because we are engaging on all fronts of this hobby, and that includes lore and painting and, of course, playing, I had to get back on the horse and get out there and engage with the competitive scene. And I wanted to talk a little bit about the realities of playing Warhammer 40,000 at tournaments and maybe some of the incorrect perceptions that might have and just the general experience. And I'm really happy that Laurence came with me because he got to see it in person and everyone was pretty cool. What as a complete layman, Laurence, as an observer, what were your impressions?
It didn't smell half as bad as I expected it to.
You put your links on. You put your links on that day, yeah.
Honestly, yeah, I thought there was going to be like a mandatory link stand. Yeah, like it was a lot of kind of organized chaos. I don't think I've ever been to I've not been to like a proper tournament before. I've been to like GW store tournament things like, oh, come round on Saturday and play this guy, and then maybe in 2 weeks you play another person. But yeah, it was very grand.
That's a good
big
word.
bloody room, wasn't it? It was a gym.
Like, yeah, I walked in and there's like, it felt like 40,000 people just like smashing dice around. I was like,
what's the atmosphere? What's the atmosphere like? Is there loads of people like whooping or like arguing or just somber?
Mate, this is a Warhammer tournament. It's a lot of people who do not like to go outside.
Okay.
Throwing dice at each other.
There was 330 people collectively avoiding being outdoors together.
Yeah. They went outdoors to go back inside. It was like... It was just a lot of people. It's like, imagine a room of 300 people talking about rules. And like, you got 2 + 2 + blah, blah, blah. Just times that by like 1,000. It's like, okay, yeah, that's what's going on.
It was really loud. Like
it was loud as hell. Yeah,
it's like a physical sensation of 300
well.
plus people. No, definitely not.
Oh.
Definitely not. No.
Could have done with
I thought they would have. I would have definitely played music.
Yeah,
some like tavern music.
Lord of the Rings soundtrack in the background, like it's games day.
Yeah, I would have loved that.
Yeah. Honestly, if as the Rohirrim come over the hill, I'd be getting second wind, man. I'd be like that L would be turning into a win pretty fast.
No, I'd be losing harder. I'd be losing so much harder.
But it is really overwhelming. Like for me, the biggest takeaway is like it's really difficult. It's really you have to concentrate so hard, and it's a lot of Warhammer as well. Like Laurence was there for the whole of the first day.
God, so much Warhammer.
And
so much Warhammer.
The whole of the first day was me playing Warhammer for 9 hours straight.
Damn.
And me watching him play Warhammer for like 8.
Yeah, it was a lot. And then I had to come back and play again the next day. And there's so many rules.
Games.
Three games. So it's five in total. You get 3 hours.
Okay.
You get a 3 hour time limit. And I'll
Fastest
be honest with you, I didn't
kinda...
finish most of the games. You know, we got to a point where we ran out of time and we had to kind of talk through and agree how the game, which you're technically not supposed to do, but everyone kind of as a gentleman's agreement, we kind of do that.
Is this why you won? Because you were like, well, yeah, obviously I would win this.
Well, no, because I would have won it. I think I was ahead on points anyway, but you generally kind of get to a fair resolution on that.
Yeah.
But it's really hard. There's so much to know, and I've never played this version of this 10th edition with tactical cards as well, and it's a completely different way of playing because I'm just used to moving things around and being like, right, well, I'm sitting on this objective, and if you try and get me off the objective, then I kill you back, and that's like a bad trade for you, and then I win because you keep doing bad trades and you run out of resources and I win. But with these tactical cards, these things here, it's like an extra. You draw a random like side quest every turn, and they draw random. So you draw 2 a turn. And it's so much extra stuff to think about. I've got to make sure I complete this and go here and stand in this area and score my points. And it was just really overwhelming, along with the fact that I don't know everyone else's rules really well. I didn't even know my rules, to be honest. I had to spend a lot of time looking everything up to make sure that I didn't do anything wrong and like unintentionally cheat. And even then, like I got some stuff wrong, but thankfully I caught it right away. But it's really hard to keep track of everything that's going on, and it's really physically draining. I got home on Monday and basically slept for ages because it was a lot. And some people go to these tournaments and play for 4 days. Like they do what I did, but twice as much. And it's really difficult. So to the people that are good at it, more power to them, because
I was going to say
it's really
DJ Khaled suffering from success, right?
Yeah, like it is a lot to keep track of. Like it is at that level, kind of everyone has a basic understanding of what's going on. But on the other side, there's also like a basic agreement of the culture around it. Because back in the day, and I'm talking like 10, 20 years ago, it wasn't as widespread. So the people that were going to tournaments didn't really have the same commitment to maintaining a healthy culture around it. So there was a lot of like gotchas and kind of like pushing the line on what was fair. Nowadays, there's a lot bigger culture around sort of like talking things through before you do stuff and coming to an agreement what's possible and what you're in. Like, it's called playing by intent, and that's why you'll come to the table. You'll hear a lot of people going, "Oh, well, this is this far away, so that means that you can't." Do you agree? Like, "Oh, you can't see this." And I think there's clips of me sort of like using my laser pointer. "Oh, you can't see around this wall. Are you happy with that?" Like, "Yeah, no, that's fine. Cool. Okay, cool. So I'm going to leave this guy here. I know that you can't see him around this wall." And there's a lot of that nowadays where the culture's a lot better, and everyone I played with was just really nice. I didn't play with any pricks at all.
There's probably like an element of like accountability with that as well, right? Because nowadays, like, look, if you want to do well and like keep rising in that sort of area of the community, like you need to like stay on form and like make sure it's enjoyable for people to play against you. If you get like a bad reputation, who's gonna go on a match with you, really, right?
Yeah. Well, ironically, this event is a really good example of that, because we spoke to one of the guys that made it to the final round, a guy called Innes Wilson, who is from Edinburgh, Scotland. He's a former captain of the Scottish national team for Warhammer. He got to the grand finals. He's a lovely man. He makes loads of content. He's a professional coach as well, so he has a lot of coaching clients, and he has a very good reputation for how he plays. The guy that he played in the grand finals, who eventually went on to beat him, doesn't have such a good... Oh, no, sorry, it was semi-finals, not grand finals. I do apologise. The grand finals was a mirror match. So he played him in the semi-finals. And that guy doesn't have a tremendous reputation, has taken some time out from playing in these tournaments,
to become
and has
nicer.
come back. And Innes recently said on his podcast what a miserable experience he had playing this guy. So...
Wait, so he was such an asshole, he had to stop playing Warhammer.
It festered.
And came back even worse.
Yeah, it festered.
What kind of fucking redemption story is this?
I am certainly not qualified to
slander.
say that he came back worse. I believe that he had a better reputation, but based on the experience of this weekend that Innes was speaking about, and then subsequently other people talking about their experiences playing him in the last year or so, it doesn't sound good for him. But me, I played 5 people that were lovely. Absolute
Fuck that guy,
diamonds.
I had a great time.
Did they say the same thing? Did you get the same review afterwards?
No.
Probably not.
Where's that laser pointer?
Probably not, because I was mega stressed and really trying my best to like not mess up anything massively.
Hyper-focus.
Yeah, you know what we're like with our fantastic brain types
course,
when
man.
we are hyper-focusing on things, and our usual brilliant ability to interact socially with other people. Always good at that.
10 out of 10 skills there for us.
But hopefully everyone found me pleasant, and if you didn't, then I do apologise. I was certainly trying my best and will continue to work on that. But it's really stressful trying to remember all of the rules and all of that kind of thing. So I can certainly understand.
This is like, that's a big barrier for me, not really wanting to get into a tournament, because I'd be like, I buy all the codexes, I read some of the rules, and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck. Like, I still don't get toughness.
Yeah.
My vision of toughness is still like 2nd, 3rd edition toughness. Like,
that's what I mean.
rules
I'm
are kept in my mind from those times. Like, that's what it is, right?
What do you mean by that? So you think that? What does that mean then?
So for me, toughness is basically like the armor that goes against strength.
That's still what it is.
That's still what it is.
Yep.
And then if the strength is higher, your to wound roll would be lower.
Yep. Still like that.
And then and then the next part would be your armor save afterwards, right? And
Still
then
like that.
If you had, it used to be, I think the armor save would switch out for an invulnerable save depending if the strength was so high or if the invulnerable save was better than the armor save. But now I feel like you get the invulnerable save after the armor save too. Is that right?
No.
Okay.
It's actually been quite simplified, to be fair, that part of it. So I can actually talk you through it straight away. So strength and toughness go against each other. If your strength and toughness are equal, you wound on a 4. If your strength is higher than their toughness, you wound on a 3. If your strength is lower than their toughness, you wound on a 5. So your concept of it's exactly right. In 2nd edition specifically, but I think also in 3rd, I can't remember, you had a little table. Do you remember the table? Where you'd look up your strength, their toughness, and it would tell you what your roll needed to be.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, wait, yeah.
Yeah, that's gone now. You don't need that. It's really simple. Is your strength the same? 4. Is your strength higher? 3. Is your strength lower? 5. However, is your strength double? 2. Is your strength half? 6. And that's all you have to remember. Higher, lower, double or half. They're the only things.
Okay.
So you don't need the chart anymore. It's really simplified. So that's that. Then you've got armor penetration, which reduces armor saves. So it can be like AP -1, -2, -3, etc., etc. If that makes your armor save worse than your invulnerable save, then you can choose to take your... To be fair, you can always choose to take either of your saves. So if you have an armor save or an invulnerable save, you can take whichever one you want. Normally you'll choose the best one. Your invulnerable save doesn't get affected by AP, so you might have a 4+ save from your Iron Halo. Their AP 1, it's still going to be 4+. But if you've got a 2-up armor save and you're AP 1, you're going to take your 3+ armor save over your 4+ invulnerable for the Iron Halo. So you can't take both.
Okay.
You
So
can
then
also
have they taken out
Feel No Pains after that, which are a subsequent
additional
save.
roll.
But that doesn't stop the attack. That stops an individual point of damage. So if you fail your armor save, you might take 1 damage, 2 damage, 3 damage, D6 damage, whatever, depending on the weapon. So say, for example, I hit you with a power fist that does 2 damage. You fail your save. You've got Feel No Pain. You then take a Feel No Pain for each point of those damage, rather than your armor save, which would be 1 roll for that attack. So Feel No Pain is like an additional thing that happens afterwards, but it's not as good because it happens per point of damage.
But if you saved both points of damage, would that mean you wouldn't have a wound?
Yes, exactly. You save both points of damage, so you don't take any, and that can happen. So, like, I have a 5-up Feel No Pain on my Exalted 8-bound World Eaters that have the blessing. I have rolled 2 5s, and they don't take any damage at all. But it's unlikely because I have to roll two 5-ups, which is possible.
And do normal Marines have that as well? Do they normally have like a 5-up, or is
it's
that
like
special?
a special thing that you would get as a special ability.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah.
My question to that would be, does that
What are
mean
you talking about?
No, I kind of
that's
get
your
it. It's
question,
actually,
Laurence.
Like, he's really good at explaining it. Like, fair play. Like,
It's almost like I do it for a living.
It really is, man. I like it's really good. What I wanted to know is, so does that mean they've kind of like simplified the strength stats of like all of the units? Because like back in the day, you'd have something that'd be like strength 7, strength 9, strength 10. So like a strength 7 would fall in between higher and double. So does that mean it would wound on a 3+ instead of a 2+? Do you know
It's
what I'm
dependent
trying
on
to
what the toughness is.
Okay.
Yeah, it's entirely dependent on comparable. So strength 7's a really good number to have because you'll generally wound most elite infantry on 3s because they're not going to have toughness of higher than 6, for example. Whereas if you want to attack vehicles are normally toughness 9 or 10. So you need a 5 to wound those, right? Because 7's lower than 9 or 10.
Okay.
So you kind of get these like meta brackets of where you want your strength points to be.
And who would be? So I was going to say, who would be like a strength 7 unit as well?
So my World Eaters 8-bound, when they charge, are strength 6.
Okay.
My Exalted 8-bound, when they charge, are strength 7.
Nice.
So it's kind of like an elite thing to be that. Generally, it's either super elite close combat specialists or Like monsters can be around about that strength as well. You
Yeah.
know, like demon princes, that kind of thing. And then you've got like ludicrous things that like I think Angron is strength. I need to look this up because I don't know it off the top of my head. Angron when he charges with his big scary axe is strength 17.
Damn.
Okay.
So technically, like he's going into tanks and just like cleaving tanks.
It's very rare.
Did you cleave any tanks?
I did.
Okay.
I did cleave some tanks. I need to cleave tanks because I have no shooting, so I have to rip and get in and then kill the guys inside. But yeah, that's generally how it works. It's, you know, a bunch of numbers and stats, and you kind of leverage, you know, your numbers to be better than theirs. But at the end of the day, it's all about scoring points, and that was the difficult thing to keep track of because I'm so used to playing Warhammer where it's like I need to hold my primary objectives and kill you. But this has got side quests for me to do. And actually, the way that the points works is you get 45 points for your primary, which is holding the objectives, and then you can get 45 points for doing these tactical cards as well. And it's as important as doing the stuff that I'm used to. So I'm putting most of my brain power into doing only half of the stuff that I need to be doing, and that was quite a difficult thing to kind of adjust to. Some terms I completely forgot to even draw cards. Like, you're supposed to do it at the start of your turn. There was a couple of turns where I'm like, okay, right, so I'm going to move these guys here. And my opponent's like, do you want to draw some cards first so you know where they need to move to? I'm like,
you ain't holding the cards.
No, it's my handicap.
I'm not holding the cards. It's true.
Oh, fuck it.
Are the cards given by the tournament as well, or are they just kind of standard cards?
These are
yeah.
See,
it's like
everyone's using the same set as well, right?
Yes, so it's a standard deck that changes every year. So the current mission deck is Pariah Nexus, and they'll change the rules slightly. They'll change the missions. This has got your tactical deck for your secondaries. This has got your deployments. This has got your primary mission rules. So this here is what you need to own to play Tournament Warhammer.
Amazon link on the below, guys.
Affiliate link, please buy.
I was going to say, with that, is there anything in that card box that affects units themselves in terms of like strength, or is it just like objective? Like, do you roll?
No, so there's no like. There's no like. I've got this deck and this one makes my guy stronger. Like, I'm gonna play this card now. No, they're all like quests basically that you have to complete.
Okay.
It's like there's one like Bring It Down where it's like kill a tank or something.
Yeah, tank or a monster, or there's like Storm Hostile objective where I have to take an objective off you that you hold, or there's other ones where I have to just go and stand and perform an action in a space on the battlefield.
Nice.
So they're all
it basically just makes like
quests.
a objective based game actually dynamic.
Yes.
So it's like so you're in like a war zone and then it's like, oh, that general over there has got to die. So you've got to kill like their one of their elites or HQs, and then like the next round it's like sabotage their points. So you've got to go and take one of their objectives off
that's
them.
always per turn, right? That doesn't like they don't persist as in to each.
Yeah, so
turn.
you can hold on to them.
Okay.
So you get two cards. You draw your two cards. You can complete them and score points.
Yep.
You can spend a command point and redraw the card. One of those cards. Yeah, you can do that. You can, at the end of your turn, choose to discard one of those cards and get a command point back. Or you can just hold them until the next turn and go, right, I'm going to complete this next turn, which is generally not advised. And every time I did that, my opponent said, you probably don't want to do that because now I know what you're going to do next turn and I'll try and play around and stop it. And I was like, thank you, sir. I appreciate that advice.
Okay, interesting.
For instance, so normally people just flop the
commander.
cards and go, oh, I did that this turn. This one I can't do, or maybe this one's not worth me trying to do because it will mean that I'll expose too much of my force to complete it. I'll just throw that away and see what I get next turn. So there is kind of a random element because there's 18 cards, so you're not going to draw them all over 5 turns. But yeah, it kind of makes it, as Laurence said, much more dynamic now than I have maybe previously been used to. And I guess that makes it more rewarding to people who know what they're doing because they can react on the fly to all these different things.
And
it also helps with like some armies, because I remember the tournaments I did play, I would play Tau, and it was like, I'm just going to table you like first round. That's my aim. If I make it to turn 3, I'm losing this match. Whereas this, it's like, it can force like armies like Tau, who used to be like just castle up and just obliterate people as they come through, to have to like move around and change objectives, because you just lose on points if not.
Yeah, and the command points thing, when you refund the cards, right? The command points aren't game changing either, right?
Or the command points are, because you spend command points to do stratagems. And your
so they can like really affect.
Yeah.
So you could refund both your cards and like risk losing. You can
only do that
points.
for one, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was just thinking like maybe that's like a little tactic you could do and then do something crazy.
It can be, but generally it's not worth holding on to a stratagem when you could score points instead.
Okay.
Yeah, because the other person, they're not like, if they don't burn all their cards, they will just like rack up points that you're not be able to like match up to. So if someone like gets bring it down and they take out your tank or something, that's another like, what is it, like 5 points, and then you've got nothing to answer that for. So like the points they just run away with it.
Yeah, and as I said to you, I'm focusing on holding all these primary objectives. I'm kind of in the back of my mind, the tactical cards are there, but I'm not really prioritizing them. But there's guys that you'll play against and be like, right, I'm going to deploy here. I know that if perchance I draw this card turn 1, I can move in range to score it with this guy. And maybe if I draw this other card, I can move with this guy and his movement will get me in range to score. So they're like, they know that they can plan around the possibility of things happening on top of the possibility of me so it's a really interesting kind of extra layer of strategy and tactics that certainly rewards people, putting in the reps and getting better. And that's kind of how competitive stuff should be. Like, I shouldn't be turning up not knowing how to play the game and like just coin flipping it. Oh yeah, I beat this guy because I just charged him with 2,000 points of World Eaters. They can just hide back, feed me units, score their secondary points, ping me back on some primary, eventually kill me, and they'll score their points at the end of the game because they can do that. And that's generally how the game's played. It's literally played over the full 5 turns, and that's the exciting thing, right? It's not, as Laurence said previously, well, I've tabled you turn 2, let's go and get some beers. You couldn't do anything about that. Sorry. The tables are all set up so you can hide. If you're playing a super shooty army, you can hide and maybe only expose a few units to score your points. Eventually you will have to deal with them, but it's a very dynamic game now, and it was really fun. Massive learning experience because, as I said to you, I've never had to deal with these tactical cards before, and trying to like build the space in my brain to consider them as I'm playing. At the same time, I'm knackered, by the way, because I've got to have conversations with people for 3 hours.
I couldn't do that.
That is killing my social battery. But yeah, it was a really rewarding experience. And as I said, everyone was really nice. So if I open up with, guys, this is like my first 10th edition tournament. I've never used tactical cards before. I apologize in advance. Everyone was super cool about it. And even the guys that I did end up beating, they were really nice. We kind of like, there was no...
I was going to say, imagine rocking up and being like, I've never played a game of Warhammer before. Go easy on me. And then you just absolutely fucking wreck them.
Didn't happen to anybody, by the way.
Twink.
Come on, bro.
Just want to get that out there.
How about that?
Didn't happen.
No, it did not.
But everyone was lovely. And so I had a really good experience. But I definitely want to point out that sort of there are a handful of people that... might be they might care a little bit too much about winning, but there's 330 people in a building. Like, not everyone is going to be the nicest guy in the world. And I think, like, going back to Innes Wilson, he said, this is the only game I've ever had that I've ever had to come out and say it was a miserable experience. It's the only game I've ever had to complain to the organizer.
What was
after
the matchup?
Tournament. Sorry?
In terms of armies? What was the matchup?
So Inez plays Genestealer Cults, and the other guy plays Blood Angels. But they're generally at that kind of level. Those guys swap their armies out regularly because they either get bored playing.
Oh yeah, they end up on eBay like every other week.
Inez don't. I don't think Inez sells anything.
I found this on the web from
it kind of makes it interesting. Sorry, I had some back there. I was like, is that me?
Some Chinese came out of my computer real quick. I don't know what happened there.
It's my DGI. What I was thinking is like, so like Elder, it's Elder that's placing really. Sorry, is it still called Elder? It's not called Elder anymore, is it?
Eldari.
Eldari.
Yeah, I think
they're placing really high in tournaments at the moment. Are they placing high in tournaments not because they're killing so much stuff, but because they're so flexible and their movement's so good that they can hit all of these card objectives?
Yeah, I think like having movement abilities is really important because yes, it does mean that you can score and move around the table and have units in different places. Like being super fast is always useful, whether that's for scoring these secondary cards or scoring primary, or like moving really fast so you can get angles to shoot things. Because
yes,
if you look at the tables now compared to maybe 10 years ago, there's a lot more walls and terrain just generally on there because the game's super lethal, right? And if you had to just both line up on Planet Bowling Ball, you just get shot to pieces. Yeah, exactly. Like I'm playing the guard. There was a famous Imperial Guard build called the Leaf Blower List, which is very descriptive about what it did. It was literally a leaf blower and just blew all your models off the table.
Yeah.
So having good terrain is really important because you need to be able to stage and hide and move from wall to wall and what have you. But having the speed to get round and cut angles and get through things, and it is always a benefit. Being fast is a really good benefit. Being durable is a good benefit. Doing a lot of damage is also a really good benefit. And it's very rare that something will have all three and not cost, a ton of points. So it's kind of like each faction has its own
mantra.
Yeah, each faction has its own identity as well. So like the Eldar are always going to be really fast. They're always going to do a lot of damage, but they're made of paper. They're going to die.
Yeah.
Whereas
I don't know, man. That second guy you played against was doing some goofy stuff. He's like, oh yeah, I'm just going to teleport like across the map.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to take out Angron just like because I've got this one dice that does this. And then I'm like,
did that work?
What is this army?
Did he take out Angron?
Sorry?
Did he take out Angron with
the
one
first
dice?
dude, I think, didn't the Eldar guy in the second game was like, oh, I'm just not going to touch Angron because then I know I've lost. So I'm going to literally kill everything else you have and let Angron just run around in circles.
Yeah.
But like when he was like his like command phase, I was like, what the hell are you doing, man? All I know is like roll and shoot. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, so there's a lot of abilities that the Eldar have where they can manipulate dice scores and flip things into a 6 if they want.
It's like, oh no, actually, these were all 6s and you're dead.
They can only do one.
Reverse card. Who knows?
Those are the rules.
They can only do one, and it used to be much worse because they could flip all kinds of things. When 10th edition first came out, they had fate dice, and they could just make things 6s.
Nice.
Devastating wounds work when you score a 6 to wound. If your weapon has that ability, and Wraith Knights used to have guns that had devastating wounds, but because they're like massive knights, they did like flat 6 wounds, and they would just go, oh yeah, actually that's actually a 6, and so's that one because I've got like a handful of fate dice, which they don't have anymore. They changed that rule, but people would just literally take 2 Wraith Knights and just go, right, yep, you're all dead. And they were like, nice. When the game came out, they were far and away the best thing in the game, and it was just like a really horrible meta. But thankfully now, they do like balance changes and stuff like every 3 months, and it's pretty cool. So stuff might come out, like the Eldar books just come out. It's got a kind of some egregious things, but there's a balance slate this week. It'll be out already, so by the time this podcast comes out, so they're kind of like on job. And they're really engaging with the competitive scene as well, which is pretty cool because The other guy that was in the grand finals against in the Blood Angels mirror match, his name is Josh Roberts, and he's a former captain of Team England. He works for Games Workshop now. He is part of their rules balance team. So, one of the best players in the history of Warhammer 40k is part of the team that's balancing the game now, which is really cool to see. So,
I mean, GW have been critiqued quite a lot for like just being like, did anyone QA this? And didn't they stop sending out like armies and rules and stuff to just public testers?
I believe they stopped doing external play testing a while back. I think they do it again now, but there was like...
Right.
There was so many
So I remember
leaks.
they like stopped and then suddenly...
They had a real problem with
it was
leaks.
about the leaks.
Yeah. So they
but then
cancelled
after that, the rules got really weird because
Yeah.
they didn't like have all that like free testing basically. And then they were like, you know what, some leaks are worth it to just have a game that works.
Yeah, I think they have a really good program now with the creators that they work with on the play testing, where kind of everyone collectively wants the game to be better, so they don't have people that are just being dicks and just like leaking stuff out there. But yeah, it's generally like a way healthier thing, and I have to say it was really difficult. It was really draining. It was very overwhelming for me, both on a rules thing, and on a social interaction thing. But it was incredibly rewarding. I had a brilliant time.
I'll bet, man.
Yeah, so I'm really glad that I did it. And to be honest with you, the other side of it that was really draining was getting my army finished, because God, like, actually painting 2,000 points of something is really it's quite an ask.
You know, this is why I always suggest custodians, mate. Just give you 4 models.
Yeah,
to do.
I've got 3 guys.
Yeah, 3 guys. Or knights, just do Imperial Knight Army.
Yeah,
sorted.
I saw a few knights and I'm like, you know what you're doing.
You know what
You've
you're
got
doing.
5 models and
You're here to participate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely played a couple of people that like just lined up their models and went airbrush,
Yep.
Yeah.
2 colours, like let's paint some more colours on. Yeah, jobs are good. And
I need
nice.
those 10 points. Give me the 10 points.
Is it the red shading? They love a bit of red shading these days, don't they? A bit of red.
One of
shading.
them was like vapor wavy, so he did like pink from the top and like that kind of pastel blue from the bottom. And it actually, to be fair, on the table it looked really cool, right? I think we've got the.
I was
footage of it.
saying to Morgan beforehand, like, out of all, like, there were some armies that were just incredibly painted, but they just kind of looked a bit like they just looked muddy in like
on the
a
table
tournament
from
situation.
like 3-4 feet away. You can't see.
Yeah, like it's crazy. Like that guy I talked to with the Tau, and I was like, I looked at him like, oh, the white Tau, and then I looked up like closer, and I'm like,
Wow.
this is actually an amazing paint job. But then
You got any
that
photos?
vaporwave guy, no, I don't. I think that's a video.
There's footage in the
Okay.
video, so you'll be able to find them. And I think that guy won best painted. He should have done anyway. But yeah,
The
they
Tau
look
guy,
really
yeah.
nice.
Like,
He
incredible.
had like
Like, the
beautiful
detail was
glazing and
crazy.
blends on all the on all the rampagers, and what's the name of the
Nice.
Yeah.
guy on the salamander again?
Lone Stalker.
Yeah, that was lovely as well.
Lone Spear.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Our Tile
Yeah, that was
here,
amazing.
Can't remember the name of the units. Yeah, but it's really beautifully painted. But
There's too many of
When
them.
you you pull away from the table, like 4 or 5 feet, like if you're looking
Yeah.
at the side or you're literally top down, you can't see most of the detail. And like you said, it just looked flat.
You really
Just
can't.
looked flat white.
But the vaporwave guy, literally 2 colors from an airbrush, they like stood out like crazy, and I was like, "This looks amazing."
Yeah.
But it is just nothing really.
It really like taught me
Well,
a
it's
lot
not
about
nothing, but,
painting
like,
as well, in terms
striking.
of like pushing the contrast more. Like really
Yeah,
pushing the contrast
yeah.
more. Because I feel like my Rhino actually still looked really good, because it's got like that really like that heavy shading. And like pushing the contrast means that they look better on the table. They might not look as good like photographed up close.
That's
They
what I
might look
mean.
A bit crazy.
You can make something like ultra realistic and like
Yeah.
perfect, but outside of like a light box, you can't really
Yeah.
tell, especially when you're just in like
Yeah.
incandescent
And
lighting.
a lot of us don't paint
kind
from
of
above
dim.
as well, right? Like, do you know what I mean? We're all painting from like kind of straight on, realistically. We're not, when we look at our models from above, or from the opponent's side, we're not looking at that angle really. So I guess it makes a bit of difference too, right?
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely, and I think like that's a really cool thing to think of as well, where talk about the excellence of putting the effort in to learn all the rules and come up with strategies and learn everyone else's rules and counter strategies to their strategies, and like the amount of information you have to process that. But there's people that kind of are able to do that and also have beautiful armies as well, and how they approach painting in a way that makes them pop on the table, the contrast, the use of airbrush to get really stark shadows and big bright highlights that really pop, and you just maximize your time and get those models on the table in a way that like you're happy with, but also they're quite striking from the next table over, or as you walk past up the the gangways and the footpaths, you go, oh yeah, that looks really cool.
That's my favorite. I think that's my favorite part of it, man. Like I remember, like I think I went to I wouldn't have been, maybe it was Games Day, but I definitely went to Warhammer World a few times, and you just walk about and you just see you see armies painted. Like I remember, like especially for like the old world Warhammer stuff, I was a real big fan of like orcs and goblins, because any player that I saw who had an orcs and goblins army, it was always like converted like massively, like had unit fillers, that they like little dioramas like in the middle.
Nice.
Yeah, I used to love that stuff, man. You'd have like loads of fanatics swinging around like mines and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, the painting side, I love that. I love seeing the armies. But I think like going back to what you said, man, it's like it's a lot on your brain, like taxing wise, because the only thing I can compare it to is like a couple, maybe like last year or the year before, I got really good at like Age of Empires 2. And so like I could basically go into a game and I would know like it's like chess, right? You know that like a skirmisher is going to be X and an archer is going to do more damage to a knight, and then you know all the different civilizations and what their bonuses are, and you instantly know, oh, if they're going elephants, and you need to make this unit to counter that. And but it's holding that knowledge in your head is so much that when I haven't played it for a while now, I know as soon as I go into a game, I'm going to get absolutely trampled. So to keep up with that knowledge and keep that space of it in your brain, I can't fit that much in my brain anymore. I think I've really decided that now. Like it's like, because I do, you know me, I do photography, I do my training stuff, I do this, I do that. It's like Gundam as well. It's like trying to fit everything in there and have a good knowledge of it is so difficult. So I think basically having like a competitive level of like extreme chess. Not chest. Sorry, I got chess on my mind. Don't know why.
Chest.
Chess with
not
like
even
objectives
Monday.
And not even exactly.
It's not even International Chess Day, but yeah, sorry.
But yeah, like having that sort of level of like range in terms of like tactics and like, because Warhammer, there's a lot of Warhammer armies and like there's a lot of like races and factions and all this sort of stuff, and they all have different abilities, and trying to keep track of all those is absolutely crazy. But I guess you eventually get there.
Yeah.
But honestly, your brain is not holding anything else, I think. So
I think like I've realized that there's a happy middle ground for me, and that's why I started the Engage in All Fronts journey, that I can have an appreciation for the people that are like at the front end of it, and realize that I'm never going to get there. But when I see them do the thing that they're great at, I recognize that they're doing it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, it's definitely possible to have an overarching, I guess, cursory.
But you need talent. What you're saying is you need talent as well. It needs to be something.
You need to dedicate yourself to it. It's like
Okay.
It's like trying to be a professional in multiple sports. Like the number of people that are professional baseball and American football players is minimal. Like they're really famous that they've been able to do that, and I don't think it's even possible.
I was gonna say the only person I can think of is like Michael Jordan.
Yeah, Bo Jackson was a famous one in the 80s as well.
Yeah,
and I don't think that that's a thing that might even be possible now. But as something gets more and more competitive, the people that dedicate themselves to only this are going to get even better. And for me, I just want to get myself to a position where I can go, oh wow, like he did that. I understand what he did. That's so clever. I would never think of doing that. But I can take joy from them doing it. And that's what I get from my Street Fighter commentary, where like I know I'm never gonna be able to beat like Kakarot and Punk and the best players in the world in Street Fighter. But when I watch them play, I'm like, that was so, my God, that was so smart.
Osmosis.
How did he react to that? Like I'll understand it, but I just can't do it. You know, like when you watch, and it's the same thing as when you watch, you know, football and you see, you know, a great player do something unbelievable on the pitch and you go, I fully understand what he did there. And that was crazy. And that makes me incredibly excited. I know I'm never going to be able to do that myself, but that was super. That was hype, and I kind of want to get to that position. And I think it's possible across, you know, multiple disciplines of this hobby where my painting is getting to a level where I'm better than most people, but I'm not competition standard painting, and I probably am never gonna be because I can't put the hours in to get.
I think you are, man.
I think your paint is pretty much up there, bro.
And also, you say not competition standard. I'm gonna be. We're all in a painting competition,
bro. Entering a competition doesn't mean. Look, I entered a Warhammer tournament. Yeah, that doesn't mean I'm tournament standard at Warhammer.
We're competition standard.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Just doesn't mean we're winning.
We're just getting participation awards. I understand that.
Yeah, we're getting the blue ribbon. So, but technically,
I'm definitely at a position where like I can look at elite painters and go, yeah, that's crazy. I see what you've done there, and that is unbelievable what you've done. And I that just makes me appreciate it more. It just gives me more joy. And I know I'm never going to get there, but it's fun to like gradually improve a little bit, you know. I can't put the time in to paint that well, but I can put the time in to paint better. I can put the time in to play better. I can put the time in to read more books, but I'm never going to know the entire backstory of Horus Heresy front to back like some of these lore guys do. And they'll remind me of something. I'll be like, oh yeah, that happened. Oh, what? And that links to this. Oh, that's crazy. I remember. Yeah, I remember that now. How did you even remember that? And I'll be super impressed. It'll make me pleased. And that's kind of what I like.
It's like your friend, when you have a friend who's really good at like quoting movies. You ever have like one of those friends and they're like always got that quote
ready? It's literally you with.
I'm terrible at it. I'm fucking terrible at it.
No, you with I think you should leave. You'll quote something. I'll be like, what is blood jabbering about? And then I'll be like, oh shit, yeah, that's what he's talking about. Like,
don't put me on the spot.
7,
I'm trying to. My ADHD brain is turning right now. It's like, what can I come up with to say in this
literally
phrase?
just be
I'm
like,
literally just doing.
Oh,
that's where I'm at. Crickets.
You'll just be like, well, triples is best. And I'm
triples is best.
What the fuck's this guy talking about? And then I'm like, oh yeah, triples is best.
Triples is best. He can hit at that price point. He can hit.
Shirt brother.
No, man. Brilliant. Well, like, look, I'm very jealous you boys had a really good time up there. It's definitely made me have a little think in my head to maybe like a little 5% nudge towards I actually want to play a game.
Yeah.
Because I'm Mr. Paint. I like painting, even though I haven't painted for a little while now. A bit behind. But yeah, listening to you guys talk and listening to the rules, it does sound super interesting. I was also thinking in my head, I was like, I wonder like if we're going to get to a stage in the future where, do you ever remember like when you were a kid, do you remember like Bamzuki or like that like game that was like on the BBC where it was like you basically moved around? It was like basically they were playing like Battlefield. No, they were playing like Total War from a projector, but it wasn't really there, and you would like move your troops and they'd be live in a studio. I wonder if we're ever going to get to that point where like, because I imagine like,
oh my god,
you know what I'm talking about.
I do remember that.
I don't know the name of it. Yeah. It was so basic as well. It's like move your Roman forces forward.
Yeah.
I wonder if we're going to get to a point where you're going to get AI or something, and basically you'll be able to like live watch your figures fight, like streaming or something.
Augmented reality. Is that what
like augmented reality? Like watching like a tournament game is probably, I don't know. Maybe it's like, I don't know. Maybe it is really fun to watch. I've read battle reports. I don't find them super engaging. I've watched some videos. I don't find them super engaging. But maybe
honestly, half of the games that I watched Logan play was like Logan rock up, and then this guy be like, "Oh, you're doing the bunghole thing," and I'm like, "Well, what's going on here?" And then they just go like, "Yeah, I'm doing it." They keep speaking like
we sounded like the teacher on Peanuts, I guess, to him.
You literally like Jawas just go like, oh. And I'm like, I'm happy Logan's having fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
I've got the audio. I'll watch it back
loud,
later.
And I'm there like, they're moving stuff, and then I'm like,
dice are being rolled
Logan's
and
there with
stuff's being picked up.
I remember one point, Logan was there with like just Angron on the board.
Yeah.
And this guy was like, "Oh, I don't know how I'm gonna do this." I'm like, "Bro, you have an entire army. He's got one guy. How are you losing?"
Do you know what? Do you know what? I think I've got one final question for this. By the way, and this is something it hit me at the start, and I wanted to ask, but I kind of forgot. What is like the kind of like feelings of the players towards like the hobby and the lore and the whole world of games workshop? Because I kind of have in my head that you have a few of them that are really into it, but a lot of them treat it almost like a competitive sport, which is separate from everything else. Do you know what I mean? They don't care about the armies. They throw them away. They're just there to win the games. Is there that sort of vibe, or do you actually like get to have cool conversations with people and be like?
The difference, I think, with Warhammer and other competitive things that could be like that are you do need to put time into getting your army done.
Okay.
Like, you can't just be like, okay, I'm just gonna roll this character today. You know, I'm gonna switch faction and play a different one online.
Yeah, I feel like you literally can't ignore the lore because, like, how do you get into Warhammer?
Yeah.
Without going into a store and then being like, oh, this guy, this gold guy with like wings, he looks cool. Oh, he's the HQ. Do I pick him? I wonder why not. What is this guy? Like, I feel like the lore, like if there was lore to chess, people would go like mental about it. But like Warhammer, like I just don't see how you can ignore the lore and story and all of this.
I think that everyone cares to different degrees, and I would say that the majority of the people in that room, a significant majority of the people in that room, think all of Warhammer is cool.
Okay.
In some way. Like they either care about their faction, they care about the entire setting, they've read the books, they think the minis look really cool, they would love to be able to paint the minis really well. There's a handful of people that probably don't care and they're literally just pieces to move around a table and they only care about it competitively. But I don't know any, and I follow a lot of content creators, a lot of people that are heavily engaged in like top level competitive play. I follow a lot of them, and even those guys, like they faction hop, but they have like a pool of factions that they care about. They're not like, I'm playing orcs this week. Oh no, actually this army's come out, elves, and they're even better. So like, I'll just play anything as long as it's top tier. You don't really get them. You get like guys that will have maybe 4 or 5. They're like, yeah, I love when this army comes back round again in the meta cycle. Yeah, I can't wait to try them again. I did so well with them. I hope they make them good again. It's very rare that you'll find a guy that's like top level that only plays one, because you're completely dependent on the balance changes, making your army viable. But they'll all have like
there is a certain
3 or
amount
4.
of like meta chasing.
They'll all have 3 or 4 where they're like, I'm happy to play any of these if they're good enough, and like hopefully one of them is, or even stylistically where there's guys that like playing armies that have like crazy tricks and shenanigans that they can do, and they might play Eldar, Sisters of Battle, or Thousand Suns, and they all to their varying degrees have had in this edition like ludicrous stuff that they can do that sounds like you're making it up as you go along. Yeah. But stylistically,
every time I hear like miracle dice, I'm like,
stylistically, nuns with guns, space elves, and dusty old dead sorcerers in suits of armor.
Hell yeah,
are not the same
band
right?
album cover.
They're not like they don't really link, but the play style kind of links. So you have people have their favorites for all manner of different reasons. But I think we're all just nerdy kids. We're all just that nerdy kid that walked into a Games Workshop store and went, wow, that looks super cool. And some of us have come back and we play tournaments. Some of us have come back and we try and paint the best. I don't think you'll find anyone that really just doesn't give a shit. And they're just like, I'm just here to play the game super seriously, and I just care about the numbers, and these guys are just my little figures that I move around. I don't care about it at all. Like, everyone's invested to some degree, I think.
And also, you got to think, like, this is a crazy expensive hobby to get into, to not care about it.
Yeah.
Like, you could do anything else. You could do, like, I don't know, Infinity. That's much less, like, expensive than GW's prices.
Or if you only cared about like moving things around, you'd just be like, you'd still be playing
just
StarCraft.
play chess.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you could. Yeah. There's so many alternate
chess,
things.
exactly,
Like you could do anything that is essentially free that is ultra competitive.
Yeah.
But Warhammer, like the models alone, crazy expensive. Even if you're like, oh, I'm going to save money in 3D print. Yeah. 3D print still costs a lot of money to like do.
And time. Your time investment's really high to get your army ready.
Like, and if you're like, oh, I really want to get like competitive with this. 10 points for painting them. You're getting involved in painting. Yeah. You really are like running the gambit of like just. You have to get involved to even be competitive. So I think GW have made it so it's unavoidable to kind of engage on all fronts with the hobby, and I think that's really impressive.
Yeah, that was a great sign-off line there, mate. I'll give you.
Okay, bye.
I nod my head to you there. If you can get that on every episode, mate, I'll be very impressed.
So I've just got to like word association so they can get to engage on all fronts.
Yeah, you have to.
We'll
tell you the subject.
On all fronts over here.
We'll tell you the subject, and you can work in a sign off each episode. That'd be impressive. But yeah, okay. I guess we've been recording for like an hour now anyway, so that is a good time to.
It didn't feel like it. It went pretty quick.
It did. Well, we had a couple of minutes of messing around at the start, so maybe it's just under an hour.
True. True.
But yeah, it's a fantastic experience. I wholeheartedly encourage people to get out and play, even if it's like a Throne of Skulls. Probably start off like a Throne of Skulls at Warhammer World or something at your local store, your local club, where it's a friendly environment for people that you can build a relationship with and grow and learn together. Because not everyone knows everything straight away, and you want to get better at it. It's a pretty cool community. Obviously, there are some bad actors within it, but it's really minimal, and I just had a great time.
I also feel like the less competitive you go, people are just going to be like, I just want to like throw some dice about and just run around a map.
Yeah, I'm just not too bothered about this. Yeah, let's just have a fun game. On the other side, you have people that are kind of like mid-level competitive, and they like really care because they invest a bit too much in their results. So yeah, you can literally find them at every level, but that's with life. You can find people that are really unpleasant to play anything with, online, chess, whatever. But I had a great time, and I think it's well worth it. And it's great that it's growing so much as well. This was not even close to one of the biggest events in the country, and there was 330 people playing. I cannot underestimate like the scale at which the tournament scene is growing around the world. So definitely something that we're going to touch back on again, because I'm going to be going to some more and learning some more.
I think we should do like we need to do a team. We need to get jerseys made up.
That'd be quite cool.
We need to go as like a trio.
I'm not going on a team with you guys. You are even worse than me.
Yes.
So, no.
That's the whole point. You're meant to
call
carry
it a
us,
handicap.
Man.
Call it a handicap.
I went 3-2.
Yeah. Then when you win,
I'm not carrying anybody.
And when you go 0-5 or 1-5, you could be like, I
Morgan's
got that
fault.
one. Yeah, exactly. I got that one with everything working against me.
So it's going to be like when you play COD online. You're like, oh man, my team sucks. It's their fault that I lost.
I've had that experience quite.
Exactly. Yeah.
Normally me shouting down at my like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
they're behind you.
That one Spider-Man is just like deep in the opponent's zone, just getting wailed on by all 5 guys, asking you why you're not healing him, like when he's clear the other side of the... Yeah.
Going 0 to 7 deaths normally. Standard Spider-Man behavior.
This is why I'm hard stuck bronze, baby.
Sensational work.
Diamond 2. Am I Diamond 2? Yeah, I'm Diamond 2. Yeah,
Celebrations. Look at that. Woo!
Come on, man. Come on. I don't think I ever get to Grandmaster though. It's like everyone just wants to. Sorry, we're talking about Marvel Rivals. It came out. I loved it. It was really good. But I'm trying to wean myself off it now because it was getting a bit crazy for a minute there. And the thing is, with that one, I'll tell you what's really interesting. Their matchmaking system is engagement based. So if you lose matches, after you lose a certain amount, they put you on like an easier level playing field. So then you go and play one more game, get that high from winning, and then go back to losing. So yeah, that's a good thing that's not in this hobby that we like. So yeah, they can get rid of that. That's for sure.
Not yet, anyway.
Not
every
yet, anyway.
Every seventh losing game, you have to play me.
Yes.
You have to come around my house, play a game, and you
or like
win
Titus
by like an
drops
absolute
into your match and just like decimates everything. Malum Kado, just a random model, just like yep, you've been KO'd.
No matter what like race you're playing as.
Oh, yeah, I don't even play Ultraman.
No matter what race.
Doing. Yeah.
Warlord Titan for free.
Yeah.
Knock yourself out.
Sorted. All right.
Make sure you check out the vlog, please. Laurence has put a lot of effort into cutting that up, and his camera skills are superb. He made my minis look great, and all my opponents were super cool. So thank you so much to everybody who agreed to be part of that. We had some cool interviews as well with Innes Wilson, who did really well at the tournament, Zach Becker, who runs the UKTC, and Daniel, who's the head honcho of Red Dragon Games in Canada, who came out and we talked to him a little bit about influencer marketing and the international scene. So there's
we love Canada.
Stuff. We do, absolutely. We
really do.
Our friends.
Oh, Canada. Yeah. I can't remember the rest of the lyrics.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for that, Laurence.
Yeah. You're welcome.
We should have ended it on your engage on all fronts segue, but instead
we're
ending all downhill from there.
We're ending it on your Canadian national anthem rendition. Sorry, all our Canadian viewers.
Okay.
Please hit the follow button, give us a like, leave some comments. Have you been to a Warhammer tournament before? What was your experience like? Let us know. Are you planning on going one? Has this influenced you into coming out of your house and playing some Warhammer at a tournament? Maybe Morgan will see you there. We'll find out. That's it from us here at Engage on All Fronts. Thank you so much. We'll be back sometime in the future, probably with another episode. We'll think of something to talk about. But until then, thanks for joining us. See you next time round.
Goodbye.
We need like an outro music after that. That'd be sick. To have a little outro music.
Canada, our great and wonderful land.
Oh yes, yeah. So I'm gonna stop recording now.